Hello, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, everyone out there. So, this is a webinar on business decisions that can boost e-commerce sales, presented by Clo.ai, enabled by our partner AppSy Connect. So, Clo.ai provides AI-based growth recommendations for e-commerce merchants. We are a PayPal incubated company. The two co-founders, myself, Ravi, and Shrikant, together we have 40 plus years of experience in providing solutions to merchants across the globe. We've worked at, prior to our journey at Clo, we have worked at PayPal, solving some of the challenges that global merchants have been facing. So if you look at the entire e-commerce journey that a customer goes through, they typically try to search for the items they want online, be it Bing, Google, or on mobile or Instagram or Facebook. And once they identify the shop or the store that is selling them, they go to the store, navigate, try to find the items they want, add it to the cart, and use any of the payment gateways that are available on the store to make the purchase and then come out. So globally, if you see that the entire process is fraught with challenges. What we have seen across the board is very low conversions ranging from 1 to 4%. And by conversion, I mean a customer coming to your web store and completing a purchase. Those numbers are very low across the board. The numbers of like 4 to 5% are on platforms or marketplaces like your Amazon and eBay. But when it comes to individual stores, the conversion rates are very, very low. So that's one challenge all merchants are grappling with today. The second challenge, and the bigger one, is around making sure that customers are aware about you. And then that's where the entire digital marketing comes into play. And today, merchants spend anywhere between 30 to 50% of their revenues on digital marketing, right? And as you all know, the success rate or the effectiveness of a campaigns is very, very low. So that's the other challenge that merchants are grappling with today. Then there is, once customers come to your store and then as they navigate through, there are a lot of tools available in trying to engage with the customer once they are on the site, and also customize the views as you go. But overall, there is significant abandonment of shopping cart that's happening. And once customers try and decide to make a purchase and go to the payment gateway, there again you see 5 to 10% failures. So across the board, there are multiple challenges that merchants are facing today.
As a typical store, as a store owner, there are a lot of decisions that you need to take on a day-to-day basis, whether it is in optimizing your ad spend, or whether you're talking about whether you need to increase sales, improve your site performance, provide efficient shipping and fulfillment for your customers, or for increasing your profitability. There are a lot of decisions that you need to take. And what we want to do as part of this webinar is to look at what are the 7 decisions that you could take to help boost sales. We'll walk through that one by one, and feel free to ask your questions on the sidebar on the chat window, and we'll try to answer them as much as we can. And if you're not able to answer that, or because of paucity of time, we will send the answers to all the participants after this webinar. So the first decision is to do the right kind of digital marketing. It's very important to be able to connect your different digital marketing activities, whether it is your PPC, your pay-per-click ad spends, your organic search results, or looking at why are companies coming to your site, what kind of search terms are they using, and so on. What we suggest is to look at what your competitors are doing. What are they? You could use tools like SEMrush to make sure that you are in the right bucket, that people perceive you as that your competitors and you are targeting the same segment. You should look at your organic searches. What are people searching for? What kind of search terms are they using to come to your site? Use that to boost your SEO or to target or use them as keywords in your ads. It's also important to create custom landing pages where you can for your PPC ads, and to make sure that the right audience comes to your pages and you are targeting them with the right messaging. That's very important. And having high quality landing pages and having your ads targeted at the right audience also means that you would appear in Google searches at higher. You would have higher ad ranks. Your quality of your the traffic that is coming to your site would also be higher. The next one is right personalization. There are a lot of tools you could use to personalize the experience for your customers. One of the key things that you need to do first is to be able to segment your users and offer differentiated messaging to them. There are customers who are just going to click on an ad, come and go away. There are customers who are going to come back. They're going to be loyalists, or they could even be champions where they refer you to others, and therefore you have a flywheel effect there. So you need to be able to understand who are your loyalists, who are the ones who are likely to churn out, and offer different things to them. So, for example, you want to look at getting your customers to return. So you need to look at what kind of what would they be interested in. Amazon does a great job of looking at your past history and then suggesting what are the things that you could buy. That's something that can be easily done by any e-commerce site today. You should also provide special offers to those who are likely to churn out. You could easily again target them with get them back to your site. The other is to offer benefits to frequent buyers. So what you could run loyalty programs, you could offer special benefits to them. Like say, for example, you could do free shipping for somebody who is a frequent buyer, either in terms of frequency or in terms of value, etc. And it's very critical, therefore, to offer very differentiated messaging, personalization for your users. They should feel special when they come to your site. The next most important thing is mobile optimization. In most markets, mobile people buying through mobile is increasing, and it is very important to do to make sure that the experience that they get on the mobile is good. What we also see is that mobile checkouts, mobile conversions are typically lower than desktop conversions, and there are a lot of things that you could do, simple things that you could do to make sure that the conversions improve. One such thing is to is something that we've been trying, which is around just knocking off these buttons at the top and just providing a plain vanilla header on your checkout page. And this seems to increase your sales by over 7%. Very simple thing, very easy thing to do, and you could it's very easy to reap the benefits of that. The other thing is even simpler, just adding a lock button to your checkout, lock image to your checkout button has shown to increase sales by over 11%. This seems to give users a feeling of, this is like a secure checkout, and I don't need to worry about about buying through this site, etc. So so there are many things like this you could do. You could optimize your page load speed. You could improve your accessibility. Size your content properly so that you could look at your Google Analytics and see what types of devices are your customers accessing your site from, and optimize for those. For example, if you're seeing that a lot of users are using your iPad to view the site, then you could make sure that when you are doing your site testing, you test for those kind of resolutions. It's also important to avoid plugins as much as possible so that the pages load really fast. Google recommends that it should be less than 3 seconds, and for every additional second that the page loads, your conversions drop significantly. And if you're just on a mobile page, web page, you should probably use AMP for content, for your content. The next important thing is to have the right checkout experience. It's very important to make sure that the checkout experience is easy and fast. You spend a lot of time and money getting the customer to this page, and if it's going to have a lot of friction, then you actually negate all that you've been trying to do before this. The recommendation is to make it as simple as possible. Make sure that users can check out from anywhere on the site. So for example, when they are adding, but when they are just adding to your cart, at that point in time, they can actually go and the same page has an icon at the top, and on hovering on top of that, you can just check out. So things like that have shown to improve the conversion, the checkout rates significantly. You should also identify customers if they are returning and what are their preferred payment options, and surface them right at the top when they are trying to check out. The idea is that you don't leave a lot of decisioning to customers. In fact, there is another experiment that has proven to be very successful at the checkout page, and this is around having a promote code. It's a very popular option, and people, e-commerce stores typically have the promo code option, right at the middle of the checkout process. But not having that code and instead just showing, like a collapsible promo code button seems to actually increase the checkout frequency, the conversions that you're getting, the revenue per visitor that you're getting. And if you're integrating, say, for example, PayPal has a lot of tools which will help you increase your improve the whole checkout experience, help them check out really fast. So it could identify PayPal users, you can identify PayPal users, provide targeted offers to them through the PayPal experience. And also, if you're in the US, you could probably use Venmo and other on-page PayPal services to improve the checkout process significantly. And where available, something like store credit, where you buy now, pay later kind of options, are also very helpful. Another very important piece is to make sure that you have the right insights on what's happening on your site. So a tool like Gloweye, and there's a shameless plug for that, what it does is it brings all of your store data into one place. Your campaign data, your visitor campaign data from, say, Facebook ads and Google ads, visitor data from Google Analytics, your store data, whatever store software you're running, whether it is Magento, Shopify, Ecommerce, etc., and your payment data. Typically, you would be running multiple payment options. You'd be running multiple payment. You'd be having multiple payment options for your customers. So you would want to make sure that you want and getting all of this data from each of them and then joining them together and getting a unified view on your own is very painful. So a tool like Glow.ai brings all of this together and provides insights onto what's happening on your store. You need to understand what are your customers doing and why are they dropping off at every point in the funnel. You could use heat maps which actually tell you what are customers clicking on, what are they doing on the site, which links are being used, which content is being seen, and then you could tailor that experience. You could remove stuff that people are not clicking on, the areas, and you could focus on improving areas where people are not looking at, and what they are not looking at. A heat map is a very powerful tool that way to understand what are users doing on the site and how do you improve their experience. You could have recordings, for example, to understand how they are traversing through the site and what they're clicking on, where what kind of mouse movements are there, etc. You need to also understand different stages of the funnel. Look at where are people coming from, what are the starting pages, and how are they traversing through the site. Which pages are they looking at, and what are the drop-offs that you're seeing at each stage of the funnel. When 100 visitors come in and only 3 or 4 visitors actually check out, where are the others dropping off, and look at optimizing the conversions at each part of the funnel, not just look at overall conversions. You could also understand customers' preferred shopping patterns, what kind of devices are most used, what time of day are you seeing most traffic. Use that data to do some very smart targeting. For example, uh, if are your customers are you seeing more conversions at a particular time of day, you could bring your campaigns, you could adjust your campaign schedules around that time frame so that you get better conversion rates. Or you look at your conversion rates and then see, okay, these times nobody's looking at it, or I'm not seeing good conversions. Then read and then change the schedules for your PPC campaigns accordingly. There are a lot of ways in which you could look at this data and optimize this. Of course, the problem is that standard tools like say Google Analytics and all that actually require you to look at a lot of this data in detail. And for example, and for a lot of merchants, some of these are just terms that they cannot make sense out of. Like for example, is high bounce rate? What does it mean? What is high bounce rate? Is 30% a good bounce rate, or is 50% a bad bounce rate? So these are things that you need to actually get into in detail, understand what is happening on your site, look at industry benchmarks. How good are your ad conversions? How good are your drop-offs, or what is the state of drop-offs at each part of the funnel? What's happening during your holiday sales? These are things that you need a good tool to actually look at. And these insights can be extremely valuable for you in terms of deciding where to put your money. The next one is brand building. I cannot emphasize enough about the need to be recognized for the need to improve brand recall for your product. There's so many companies today which are actually fighting for a customer's attention with similar, largely undifferentiated products. It's very important for you to not just use tools like like your ads and all of that, but also make sure that you promote your brand across channels. If you are an apparel retailer, you need to be on Facebook and Instagram. You need to be constantly providing information, pushing out information to your customers. Get your customers to follow you. Get your customers to subscribe to your channels, your updates, etc. It may not be that they are going to keep buying regularly, but it's important for them to remember you when they actually need to make a purchase, or when they are actually doing a search, and then your store actually pops up on the search results. So and again, you could do there are different ways of doing this, because you could use search ads not just for conversions, not just for driving purchase traffic, but also to lift top of mind awareness, where you're just running ads which talk about a particular product or a product category. The next one is about getting the right data. All of this, whatever we've been talking about, is actually not of much use if you're not able to get good data in place for you from your different sources. So if we are talking about insights, if we are talking about companies, if you're saying, okay, this is how you need to target customers, or this is where my purchases are happening, these are the locations people are coming from, or these are the products that people are buying. For you to be able to get to good decisions, you need good data in place. And typically what we recommend, for example, is, I'm sure a lot of you would be using tools like Google Analytics, but if you are a store, you need to use Google Analytics Enhanced E-commerce, because that offers you a lot more data around specific purchase patterns, events, and so on. How many people are adding to cart? What kind of products are they adding? And how many are actually checking out? And what is the behavior and journey of customers for different categories? If you're using Facebook, you need to have your Facebook pixel instrumented right, be able to track that, and constantly test and see and make sure that data is flowing correctly to your to these tools. We also recommend the use of something like Google Tag Manager, because what it does is it centralizes your Google Analytics, your Facebook data, and if you're using tools like Hotjar for your heat maps, you could do a lot of things. You could experiment with a lot of tools centrally from Google Tag Manager without actually tampering with your site or asking, going back every time to your digital agency or your developer and telling them, I want to add this tag, I want to add this piece of JavaScript code. Instead, centralize everything in Google Tag Manager, correctly have events set up there, and it will save you a huge amount of time and money later when you're actually doing your analytics. Of course, if you're running campaigns, whether it is newsletters, emails, or your ad campaigns, it's very important to have your UTM tracking set up correctly, because that is pretty much the only way you can figure out if a particular campaign is effective, how and what is actually happening on your site, which ones are giving you the most bang for the buck, etc. It also helps tools like Google Analytics understand and segment your traffic better, and also provide you information about the performance of the different campaigns and tools that you're using. From a product perspective, from a categorization perspective, it is very important to have the taxonomy of your categories set up right, because in the end, everything is about selling your products. And if your product categorization and cataloging is messy, then you're not going to get a lot of insights from that. So it is important to have your product taxonomy set up correctly, and also make sure that everything is clean, that you keep updating there's proper descriptions, the proper tagging, and the way the whole the URLs are set up is right, the way they are structured is done right. If you're actually looking at user level granularity, you want to track individual users. You have, let's say you are a high value retailer, you could probably use tools like Journey Insights, Buyclo, or other tools, clickstream tools, which can actually help you provide understanding of individual user journeys, and so you can actually do a lot more analytics around that. And some very simple things, like for example, use drop downs to force users to select standardized data. Help you later. Like for example, when you're doing locations, you could use, say, Google's location JavaScript code to figure out, to make sure that the whole thing is standardized. Then when you're actually running your analytics, if you want to find out what type of products are selling in what location and so on, you don't need to go around cleaning your data and trying to manipulate that. You don't have to spend time doing that. Instead, the data is the reports are available very fast, very quickly.
So getting the right data is the beginning of your insights journey. Today, as merchants and merchant partners, you have to go to multiple systems to understand what is happening to your business. Things like, if you want to understand how many visitors came through which channels, you have to go to Google Analytics or systems like Google Analytics. If you want to understand what your ad performance has been or what your campaign performance has been, you have to go to either Google AdWords, Bing ad system, or Facebook system to understand your campaign effectiveness. Most of you would be using shopping cart providers like Magento, Shopify, Ecommerce to manage your entire stores. So you have to go to these systems to understand how orders are placed, how is your product being performed, how are customers using your system, etc. So you have to go to these shopping cart systems to understand your entire orders and customers. And most merchants today have more than one payment gateway integrated with. They could be having PayPal, Stripe, Square, etc. So you have to go to these systems to understand the payment gateway performance. Now, this is a huge challenge that all merchants are facing today. You have to go to these multiple dashboards, and most of the time you employ a part-time person or a full-time person, depending on how big your business is, wherein you pull all this information into Excel or tools like Databox and try to make sense of this multiple dashboards and information. Or you would have been handing over this entire task to the digital marketing agency or your digital partner, who would also be doing something similar. Now, this is where you are. And on the other hand, the Amazons of the world, the eBays of the world, who are eating your lunch, breakfast, and dinner, are using sophisticated machine learning and AI-enabled systems to slice and dice each and every bit of data and try to squeeze sense out of it so that they can go and achieve those higher conversion rates, where they can go and achieve this higher repeat customer rate, etc. Now, you as a small merchant have huge challenge in making sense of this data. Today, if you have sales anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 orders, you are looking anywhere between 2 million to 4 million data points, which is what you have to look at to get really good insights. At Clove, we have solved the problem for you. Clove.ai has a SaaS solution which you can onboard in less than 10 minutes, where you can bring in your Google AdWords data, your Google Analytics data, your Facebook data. The system also connects to the different shopping cart vendors, be it your Magento, Shopify, or WooCommerce. The system also connects with different payment gateways like PayPal, Stripe, Square, Authorize.net. And it's a one-time connective effort that you have to take. And once done, all the data is pulled together, and what you get is unified view of what is happening to your visitors, campaigns, orders, customers, payments, all in one place. You don't have to run to 20 different systems to understand what is happening to your business. That's number one advantage. You can quickly flip through this through the solution as you're drinking coffee in the morning or walking your dog in the evening. That's how simple it is. Along with this unified view, what you get is this powerful recommendations or call to actions, which can help you in multiple ways. Some of the areas it can help you is around optimizing your ad spend. We understand that 90% of ad spend go waste, and probably 10 to 15% of ads are really effective in either giving you conversions or bringing traffic to your site. Clove.ai dives deeper, connects your campaigns to orders and orders to payments, stitches all that information and runs through advanced machine learning models and AI-enabled system to tell you exactly which 90% of campaigns are a money pit for you, and which are the 4 or 5% campaigns which are essentially helping you give conversions. The system lets you seamlessly pause campaigns, delete keywords that are not helping you, and thereby stretch your limited ad dollars further to increase your conversions and bring more effective customers to your system. The system also looks at all your products and product sales to identify not only your top selling products, but also trending products, so that you can figure out ways to promote them, right? Also, it helps you identify which products might be running out of stock, so that you can plan ahead and make sure that your inventory is always there for you. Yeah. The system also helps. One of the other huge challenges that customers today face is around increasing your return customer rate. If you have 5,000, 10,000, or 20,000 customers that you have interacted with in the last 1 or 2 years, Flow.ai goes back in history, slices and dices all the customer and order data and surfaces the customer segments which you can start interacting with. Now your customers start talking to you. If you want to identify which customer segments might churn out next month, the answer is here for you. It's as simple as clicking a download report where you get the list of all customers who might churn out next month, and you can run a specialized campaign using the exact messaging that Clove provides. Clove also provides you the set of customers who are your premium customers. So tomorrow, if you want to launch a new product, you exactly know whom to reach out to. So with this advanced machine learning models, the system lets you exactly understand your customers and gives you the strategies on how to approach them. Also, the system lets you track the effectiveness of your campaigns so that over time, you know that your campaigns are performing well because you're addressing the right segment of customers with the right message. So I'll walk you through a specific case study where one of our customers has seen huge revenue growth using our system. So this was an e-commerce merchant who has 3,500 plus SKUs with an average traffic of 25,000 users per month. It's a mid-sized merchant who has PayPal, Stripe, and Braintree as payment gateways, and their ad spend is about $70,000 a year. The customer came to us with few challenges. One is around poor campaign performance. The other challenge that the customer had was very low repeat customer rate. What we have seen with this customer when they came to us was less than 5% of repeat customers. The other challenge the merchant had was understanding drop-offs. The customer did not know who is dropping off where. They've integrated with Cloud, and very soon we were able to provide help around understanding their ads and clearly identifying which 80% of ads were really not working for them and which ads were actually bringing them clicks and conversion. We were also able to identify which hour of the day they need to run campaigns, in which geography, and target what kinds of demographic. This was vital information that this merchant was able to leverage very soon, and with that they were able to reduce their ad spends. They've also integrated our advanced beacon tracking system, using which we were able to identify who was dropping off at which point in the entire funnel, and this helped increase the drop-off user rate by about revenue from the drop-off users by 5%. Looking at the 2 years historical order data and combining it with the customers, the system, we were able to identify the customer segments and use that information to retarget those loyal customers, those champion customers, using which we were able to push the entire returning user rate by 10%. This is a huge win for the merchant, and they were able to essentially reduce their ad spend and increase their revenue in a very, very short time. So many businesses today are choosing third-party applications to manage processes like order fulfillment, warehouse management, accounting, shipping, customer management, along with their e-commerce platform. So it's not like your e-commerce platform stands alone. So you need these other components to come together for the entire purchase flow and business to run. And to manage the business processes effectively and make all those systems work as one, an integrated platform is required. Our partner FC Connect integration platform transforms your business by seamlessly integrating your e-commerce store with a host of other applications like your ERP systems, be it SAP or Microsoft Dynamics, CRM, POS systems, etc. In the end, what you have is one holistic combined platform that you can start acting on and leveraging to move forward. Thank you for the opportunity to present today. Open to answer any questions you have in the next 10-20 minutes, or we'd be happy to answer these questions if you send out an email to info@clo.aa or reach out to sales@AppsiConnect.
We have a few questions that people have asked. Just try and answer them. If there are any, please post them on the questions window or the chat window, and we'll try and answer them today if we can, or we will send the answers back to you via email. So the first question is around how do you, so this is from, so this is from somebody who's asking, how do you track profitability for when we are tracking store performance? So, so I think the most important thing, I mean, typically tools today do not have an option of tracking profitability. Say, for example, you can find out how much revenue you're making and what is the number of visitors that you're getting. But if you need to integrate, if you need to find out your profitability, you need to integrate your, provide your COGS data, the cost of goods sold data. A tool like AppsiConnect provides integration back into your business systems and pulls information from source systems like SAP or NetSuite and brings that cost data back to back to you, which you can then now look add that or layer that with your insights and figure out, even though you're making a lot of sales, but the profitability is lower, whereas some product which is having higher sales, lower sales, seems to be more profitable, and so on and so forth. So it is very critical to be able to bring that data back into that. The next question is, which is better, Facebook ads or Google ads? I think there is no right answer to this thing. What you need to do is, so today, for example, I mean, the traditional thinking is that B2C products, especially apparel, seem to perform better on Facebook and Instagram, whereas B2B products seem to do better on Google, using Google AdWords. But we also have had customers who have seen, B2B customers who have actually seen pretty good results on Facebook and Instagram, including, for example, home services, furniture, etc. They've seen good results both on Facebook and Google AdWords. So what we recommend is that you try both, see which is working for you, closely track how are you doing your targeting, your demographics, your locations, and then figure out what works best for you. If you are typically a local brand, then you would greatly benefit by highly targeted local ads, both on Google and Facebook. But if you are actually a global brand, both of them actually can work. That's something you'll have to see. The third question was, my mobile conversions are lower than desktop. How do I improve that? So that's again, like I think I mentioned that a little earlier. It's true that mobile conversions are lower, and that's also because people are more comfortable doing their purchases on desktop, and that's been like there traditionally. Overall, it's slightly creeping up. Like last year in the US, for example, in the holiday sales, 39% of transactions were completed on the mobile, the rest on tablets and desktop. For you to actually, but you see a lot more customers today coming on the mobile, and you want to make sure that they complete the transactions there, because and make sure that there's no friction. Keep the mobile experience simple, easy, and fast, and you're likely to see much better conversions there on that. So the fourth question is, Google Analytics is not helping me track individual users. What should I do? I think if you are a high volume store, then there may not be a lot of benefits by actually tracking individual user journeys. But if you are if you are a high value store and each of your product is over a certain threshold, then you would want to really track users very closely. So there are different tools for that you could use. Of course, Clove has a product called Journey Insights, which can track users at an individual level. There are other clickstream analytics tools like Metrics, which can also help in tracking individual users. It's important to instrument these, right? There is some integration effort that would be involved in doing that, but what you get is a much richer data set of users, their journeys across different pages, and especially if you are spending a lot of money on ads, then it's important for you to be able to track the journeys. Where are they dropping off? How are the journeys looking at? And at an aggregated basis, what pages are people looking at? So for that, you would need Clickstream, a specialized Clickstream solution, and that's pretty much the only way to track individual users. The other fifth question was around when should I use AI? I think that's a very interesting question because today a lot of tools come embedded with AI. If you're using, for example, if you're doing personalization, then there are tools which will AI-based tools which will actually automatically look at the data, look at users coming in, paint the pages based on what is most likely to succeed, etc. That's probably at the lower end. At the higher end, you have AI tools which will you build out AI models which will look at at how a customer's buying and what kind of offers should you target them, what kind of prices should you keep, etc. The thumb rule for that is, I think, from my perspective, I would say that you need to have a certain number, the number of SKUs that you need to have in your site should be at least 500 or more, and you need to have more than 1,000 orders a day for any AI tool to be successful. Of course, the other problem is that you also need to look at what is the value that you're getting out from these tools. Are you looking at very specialized ones, which, like, say, for example, which only do personalization of the pages or the search experience, etc. Or are you looking at a slightly more general tool, like, for example, Cloud.ai, which provides recommendations across different areas, whether it's traffic, whether it's sales or customers or campaign spends, and which give you recommendations on what you need to do, really. So I think the most important thing is, like, is implementing AI actually going to complicate your life? Is it going to require a lot more involvement from you than you're prepared to spend time on? I think those are the key questions that you should answer here. I think we've come to the end of the questions, but feel free to post others on the chat, or you can email us at info@clove.ai or sales@tapseconnect.com. We'd be glad to answer them. So thank you for your time. Really appreciate you taking time out to listen to us, to attend this webinar. Thank you.